feeling right now, or a kavanah, or an intention for this session today, if you want to share that with the group, feel free to do so. Welcome also to those joining us on YouTube. Just so glad you're here. And if you have any questions before we start, also feel free to put those into the chat. Will has put links to the IJS website and also the IJS YouTube channel. I encourage you to go there and subscribe to our channel and like the videos when you encounter them, when you interact with them. That helps. I think every like, every click helps, and it's really amazing that all of this teaching is available for free at any time. You can access it on your own, which is so great. So we'll start in 3 minutes. Today, it would be nice if you have a blanket and a strap. And you might want a chair, you might want a block, you might want the wall. We're gonna look at triangle pose, and we're also gonna look at half moon pose. And so depending on how that is for you, you might even want your back at the wall for some balance. So just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, triangle pose, you may want the chair, and then we're gonna hop up to half moon, which is a balance, right? So you may want the chair, you may want chair and wall. You might, if this is a regular part of your practice, you may want a block, right? So whatever you need to feel safe going into those poses is what you're gonna wanna have. Always good to have things around you. Okay, let's get started. Good morning, everyone. If you're just hopping on, I'm Cantor, Lizzie, Shammash, and it's great to see you. Today we're going to take a look at Parshat Shlach Lecha, and we're going to start on the floor, lying down. Just a moment before you go there, if you don't have props gathered, I want to tell you about props. You want to have a blanket and possibly a strap, and then we're going to also look today at triangle and half moon pose. And so you may want for that a chair. You may want a wall behind you, right? Because we're going into balance. You may or you may not. If you're brand new to this pose and also balance is somewhat challenging, you may want chair and wall. Just want to mention options. You may want block. Again, you may want the wall or not the wall. If it's in your repertoire pretty regularly and if balance is easy for you, you may not need, but I wanted to kind of just put that all out there to begin. So we're going to start on the floor in what we call constructive rest position, which is lying down with the soles of the feet on the floor and the knees bent. Take the blanket and place it under your head. Just gives your head a little bit of lift. Have your strap nearby. Take your hands to the back of your skull. You can give a little massage at the base of the skull where the bone meets the soft part, and on the sides of the neck with your thumbs. Just enjoy this self-touch for a moment. See if you can soften a little bit, encourage some softening at the base of the skull, some softening at the neck, anywhere where you're hard, and also encourage a softening of the mind, of the mental patterns. The physical and the emotional are always talking to each other. Psyche and soma. And then take your fingers into the base of the skull. Give your head a little bit of a tug away from your neck. You might notice that any length that comes to other parts of the spine as you do this, maybe, and then lay your head down. See that your chin is neither overly tucked nor overly up towards the ceiling, but just easy. Throat is easy. Elbows are bent and the hands can be placed on the low belly or on the low ribs. And just take a moment to breathe here and allow the skeleton to settle. And feel the back body to the mat, to the floor. The contours of contact. That is, some parts of the body more in contact, heavier, maybe warmer than others. Feet, the back of the pelvis, the shoulders, shoulder blades, outer shoulders, the back of the head. As if you were lying in sand and making an imprint in the sand. And take your hands to the front of the pelvis and just palpate a little bit with your fingers so that you can feel perhaps those two bones in the front, that we call them the front hip points or the as-is bones. See if you can find them and just notice, is one higher than the other, more forward than the other? How are they in relation to each other? And if you give a little pressure down in that place with the palms of your hands, can you feel a little more the contour of the back of the pelvis? That is the sacrum in contact with the floor. Just let it be heavy. And then we're going to let the knees gently move, gently wave from side to side. Just a couple inches to each side, very little. As if you're not even effecting this yourself, but there are strings from the kneecaps to the ceiling, kind of like puppeteer strings. And they're taking you from side to side. So there's really no effort in the front of the hip socket, in the legs. The knees are just slowly waving a little bit side to side. And as you do this, notice how the weight shifts across the back of the pelvis. Notice the terrain back there. What feels hard, what feels soft. What's the temperature like? Is there any pain or discomfort? Does it feel open? How is it right now? And then come back to neutral. Grab your strap if you've got it. We're going to take the right foot up towards the ceiling and place the strap around the heel, the right heel. Alternatively, if you have no strap, take your hands and clasp them to the back of the right thigh. Let the thigh drop into the hands. The left knee can be bent, or you can extend the left leg long. And flex through that left leg if you're extending it like you're standing on it. And notice, how does the contour of the sacrum change in this stance, in this lying pose? Is anything different? Does the right side try to hike up? Might you lengthen the right sitting bone? Again, what's the sense of weight and pressure across the back of the pelvis? And of course, feeling some sensation build in the back of the right leg. And then take both sides of the strap to the right hand and take the right leg out to the right. The left arm can extend out at shoulder height as a counterbalance. The right leg out to the side. And what we really want to notice here, even as we extend through that right heel, is how is it in the back of the pelvis? How do the contours change? And then inhale as you bring the right leg up to center. Bend the left knee, place the sole of the foot on the floor. Take the strap off. Bend the right knee, we'll make a figure 4. And take the right hand to the right knee and just bring the knee in and out a little bit. Just for a couple moments. And then hug the whole thing in towards the body. You can either thread the strap through or take the hands and clasp behind the left thigh. Inhale here, and as you exhale, draw in a little bit, hug in towards the body. And then as you inhale, let the legs move away from the torso. And again, as you exhale, draw in a little closer. Using the hands pressing against the leg or using the strap to bring in. So inhaling away and exhaling toward you. And notice that little bit of movement of the pelvis. Notice the weight shift. It's a little bit of like a tuck and release, a little bit of a rocking as you make this motion. And then release, come down. Come back to constructive rest, and we're going to switch sides. So taking the strap around the left foot, send the heel up towards the ceiling. If you like, you can extend the right leg long. And once again, our attention today in this pose, right, is on the back of the pelvis. What do you notice? What do you feel? Might you be able to have the sense of breathing deeply into the pelvic bowl? So not only the belly rises, but that there's actually some movement towards the back body as well, with the breath filling the back body. And then with both hands on the strap, take the left leg out to the left. You can take the right arm out to the side at shoulder height. What is the relationship of the two sitting bones to each other, the two bones that make the base of the pelvis? How does weight shift as we bring the leg out to the side? How is it different? What are the contours? And then inhale back up to center. Bend that right knee if it's not already bent. Place the sole of the foot on the floor. Take the figure 4 with the left leg crossing over. Hug this in once again, either with the strap threading behind the right thigh or with your hands. We're going to do a little breathing, gentle rocking. So as we inhale, let the right leg really drop into the hands. The whole figure 4 moves away from the body. And as we exhale, press the clasped hands to the thigh. Bring the legs toward the body. Inhaling, letting the legs move away. And exhale, bring the whole figure 4 toward you. So in your own breath, just feel that very subtle rocking of the pelvis. And check in with yourself and notice, what is my general mood today? And what is my attitude toward practice? See if you can come without any judgment and notice, is it generally, like, I can do this, I got this? Or there's some fears and concerns that worry you, that hold you back. Just noticing. As you're ready, release the figure 4. Bring the soles of the feet back to the floor. You can stay here if you like while I teach. Focus on your breath, or if you'd like to come to a comfortable seat, you can do that. However you want to be, for the next 5 or so minutes, I want to just share a little bit of teaching on this 21st day of Sivan and Parshat Shlach Lecha. It's a really, really rich Torah portion for us to look at. So God says to Moses, what I want you to do is I want you to send out some men, anashim. Later on in Deuteronomy, it'll say scouts, but here people, to go scout the land of Canaan, which I'm giving to the Israelite people. So please send 1 from each tribe, send 12. And then they're named, and among them are Joshua and Caleb. Yehoshua, whose name has been changed by Moses, it's noted here, from Hoshea to Yehoshua, the addition of the Yud, the addition of the God factor, the God piece with the Yud, and also Kalev, whose name contains Lamed Vet, heart, Lev, Kalev, like the heart. Send these 12 scouts to go up there to the Negev and onto the hill country and to see what kind of country it is that I'm going to give to these people. Check it out. Are the people who dwell in it strong or weak, few or many? Is the country in which they dwell good or bad? Are the towns they live in open or fortified? Is the soil rich or poor? Is it wooded or not? And take pains to bring back some fruit of the land. So they go, and they reach Wadi Eshkol, and there are wonderful fruits there. They cut down a branch of grapes. So many grapes, it has to be borne on a carrying frame by 2 people, and they bring back pomegranates and figs from this beautiful place. And they're gone 40 days, that important number, on this scouting mission. And then they come back, and they make their report, and they say, we came to the land that you sent us to. It does indeed flow with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. Here it is. However, the people who inhabit the country are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large, and we're worried, right? And Caleb comes in, and he hushes the people, and he says, let us by all means go up. We shall gain possession of it, for we shall surely overcome it. That's the JPS translation, but the Hebrew says, with a double verb here, ki yachol nuchal la. Yachol nuchal, twice, we can. Another word is yecholet, ability. We have the ability, we can do this. But the others say, no, we can't attack that people. It's stronger than we. The country that we traversed and scouted is one that devours its settlers, and all the men there, they're of great size, and we felt ourselves like grasshoppers, very small, and that's how we must have looked to them. So here's Kalev with some positive report, but the rest of them, they have doubt and they have fear. So, and Joshua joins him, and the two of them, they say, the land that we traversed and scouted is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will bring us into that land, a land that flows with milk and honey, and he will give it to us. Only you must not rebel against the Lord. Have no fear. Al tir'u. Have no fear then of the people of the country. Their protection has departed from them, but the Lord is with us. Okay, so they have emunah, they have faith, Yehoshua and Caleb, and the other 10, they're very concerned. And God actually very much punishes those who doubted, and he says, they're not going to, I'm going to make it so that they do not enter the land. They will die in the wilderness. We will have them roaming around, and it will be only their children who can enter the land. Save Caleb, son of Yefuneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun. They will be able to enter the land because they believed and they trusted. So how is it in this land? Today we investigate the land as in the terrain of this body, the contours of this body, this home that we occupy. How is it in there? Is it warm or cold? Is it painful or not? Does it feel tight? Does it feel open? And the land contains all of these things, all of these possibilities from moment to moment, doesn't it? But we can choose our perspective also a little bit too. How is our perspective colored? Can we encourage the perspective of Yehoshua, who has that Yud in his name, of Caleb, who has heartfulness? Can we encourage that perspective for ourselves as we go into the terrain and inquire? Can we notice with clear sight? Can we soften our minds, and can we brighten a little bit the heart? So I want to kind of approach our practice today, going into this terrain non-judgmentally. How is it? How does it look? Is it inhabitable? Is it rocky, or is it, how is the soil, etc. And with respect largely to the pelvis and to the sacrum, which is this bony shield of the lower spine, right? We have the lumbar spine here below the rib cage, and then we have the sacrum, this bony piece that attaches to the pelvis that has some more vertebrae, right? So how is it? How is it for us? So let's come to stand. And just start up here as we get to this plane by opening the joints. Let's take some bending of the knees. Just giving a little movement for ankles, for the knees. You can take your hands to your kneecaps and rub a little bit. And then come on up and lift one heel and the other heel. A little bit of prancing and movement through the foot and through the ankle. Really push through the foot as you go. Just feel the ankle open a little bit. You can point and flex and take some circles. Scrunch the toes, extend the toes. And then bring the feet together, feet and knees together. Bend the knees slightly, and we're going to take the knees around in a half circle. One direction and then the other direction. So forward and around and back. Little wake up for the knees. How is it in the land? And then coming up to the hips, you can take the feet a little wider apart, hip width or a little bit more, and start to take circles with the hips. You can even close your eyes if you prefer. Just go slowly, like a very slow hula hoop move. Just feeling the contour of the muscles as you go. The low back, and then go in the other direction. And then come to rest, and we'll move to the wrists, taking some circles with the wrists, one direction and the other direction. Just a check-in for each of the joints. How are they doing? How are you feeling? The elbows bend and straighten. And the shoulders, taking a little bit of shoulder rolling, either both together or one at a time. You might want to involve the elbows as you go around, or even the whole arm like a backstroke. Just see what movement feels organic for you. It doesn't in any way have to mirror mine. Just exploring the shoulder joints of your own body. Great. We're going to come to a forward bend, so you may want the chair or a block, or you may take your hands to the floor. You'll see how it works for you. I'm going to model with the chair. So with the feet about hip width apart, find the four corners of the feet, inner and outer heel, mound of the big toe, over to the mound of the little toe, ground all four corners. Inhale and lift the heart. And then exhale, fold from the hip creases. Maybe it's hands to the chair. Micro bend in the knees. Maybe it's elbows bent, forearms to the chair. Maybe you're folding all the way over. Maybe your hands come to your shins or to the floor, depending on your own flexibility. Just be where you are. We're looking to come to an edge where we have some sensation and stretch in the backs of the legs that we can breathe through and be with. Scouting the land. How does it feel today in this territory? How does it feel today in this body? Just noticing, allowing. And then as you're ready, inhale, press into the feet to come up. So we're going to take triangle pose next. So again, you might want to have the chair, or you might want to have a block behind you. I'm going to model with the chair. So turning to the right, right toes out, left toes in. The front heel bisects the back arch. Inhale, extend the arms at shoulder height. And then exhale with straight legs. Shift those hips over to the left as we extend the torso to the right. Hand comes down. Maybe to the chair, maybe to your shin, maybe to a block. Top arm, if you like, comes up. It's up to you. So I'm modeling fairly gentle version of the pose. You be wherever you are. Lengthen through the tailbone and notice, how does it feel in the back of the pelvis and the pelvis in general in this orientation? How is it? Can you make for space? Can you make for yachol nuchal, for a sense of ability that you can do this wherever you are? Inhale and come up. We're going to take the other side. So if you have a prop, move it to the other side. Left toes out and the right toes in. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, shift the hips and come down. Legs are straight. Torso is lengthened. And if you're not really sure what does the terrain of my pelvis feel like, then come out and in a couple times. See if that helps to be able to identify or feel a little more strongly what's going on in your own body. And be here and breathe. Good. Inhale to come up. We're going to take the same pose once again on each side. So again, you may want chair, you may want block, just showing another way. And this time I'm going to ask you without fuss, just to exhale and come right into the pose and stay, right? Without a lot of adjustments. So inhale and then exhale into the pose and be there. And feel, how is it? How is it right here? What's the lay of the land? What's the terrain? Press into the feet, inhale to come up, switch sides, switch your prop. Inhale the arms up, exhale right into the pose. Be here for a few breaths. And then press into the feet. Inhale to come up, jump or heel toe the feet together. And we're going to move to half moon, which is a similar orientation of the pelvis to triangle, but adding balance to it. So it may feel a little bit different. So you may take it closer to a wall or not. You might suspend with balance. You're going to come into a short triangle pose on the right. And then from there, hop up. So the back leg is coming only to hip height. You're pressing into the chair or to a block, and the top arm can come up if you like. The gaze is either forward or up towards the ceiling. And scout the land. How is it? What's new? What's nuanced? And how is it for the back of the pelvis? As you're ready, come on up. We unwind, so we come to that short triangle, and then we come on up. That's one way. I'll model it on the other side a little bit differently, just so you might be able to see. So, other side, take a short triangle stance. And then from there we bend the front knee and hop on up. Scout the land. How is it? What do you notice there? Is it a place you want to go into more fully, or a place you don't want to be? Can you rest in your own abilities here? As you're ready, make your way down and out. And then we'll finish for the standing poses with a wide leg forward bend. So again, you may want your chair in front of you. Maybe hands come to the floor. Legs are wide, hands to the hips. Inhale, press the feet down and lift the heart. And exhale, come forward, hinging from the hips. So maybe hands to the chair or forearms to the chair. Or hands to the floor, head coming down to the floor. So again, what do you notice about the orientation of the pelvis, and specifically, how is it in the back of the pelvis, in the sacrum? And as you're ready, inhale, press into the feet to come up, lift up. Exhale back to center, jump or step feet together. And we're going to come down to the floor to a seated twist. If you would like some support for your sitting bones or for your hips, you'll take a blanket. Okay, so extend your left leg long and bring your right foot in. This is one option. And I'm not mirroring you now, I'm opposite of you, just to be clear. So either the right foot is in like this, each foot in line with the hip, with its own hip, or you can take this with the right leg crossed over the left, or you can take this tucking the left leg under you. So 3 different options for this twist. Wherever you are, take the hands to the shin, right? The hands to the right shin. Inhale and lift the spine. Be very sturdy on top of your sitting bones. How is it in the sacrum, in the lower back for you right now? Breathe and feel into this area. Inhale here, and as you exhale, spin to the right. Take the right fingers behind you, right hand behind you. You might hold the right knee with the left hand. You might take it in the crook of the elbow, or you might take the elbow to the opposite side of the knee. And what do you notice about the low back? How are the contours? How is the terrain of the pelvis as you make this twisting action? And then inhale as you're ready, come on back through center. We're going to take a counter twist to the left. So opening, legs are the same, opening the torso to the other side. And again, how is it in the pelvis? How does it shift? And then as you're ready, come on back to center. And we'll switch sides. So whatever variation you did on the first side with the legs, you'll do the same thing for the second side. So take the palms to the left shin. Press against the shin as you lift the spine. Feel the stability of the pelvis here. Inhale tall, and exhale spin to the left. So again, find the place where the right hand wants to be, the hand, the crook of the elbow, or maybe the elbow to the outside of the knee as you twist. Notice the orientation of the pelvis. Right, so you have the sacrum is held in place there by two joints called the sacroiliac joints, right? The sacrum to the ilium. So there's some movement, there's some flexibility that perhaps you feel as you move into this twist. It's not just one giant bony area. And then come on back to center. Extend the legs long, give them a shake out. Oh, actually, sorry. Counter twist, open to the right. And balance out our two sides. And then come back to center. Now we're going to lay down. You might want some cushion under your head again with that blanket. So coming back to this lying down orientation, we've kind of taken this pelvis into a lot of movements today. So I want you to take your hands with the thumbs to your lower ribs in the front and the fingers down to those hip points in the front. Feel that space between rib cage and pelvis. Just orienting ourselves. And feel this body. Feel the terrain. And we'll do a gentle exercise for the core, for engaging the core, and for also lengthening in the back. A little bit, and again, it's sort of like a nuanced rocking. So inhale, feel the belly expand. As you exhale and draw the navel to the spine, tuck your tail, press the low back into the floor. So you get a lot of length in the lower spine, a little bit of a curl, and feel how your fingers and thumb in the front come towards each other. And as you inhale, release, feel the fingers and thumb move away to each other, and you can even move into a little bit of an arch. So passing through neutral, going to an arch. As you exhale, once again, pass through neutral and come into a curl or a little bit of a tuck. As the lower back presses to the floor, tailbone moves away, and you notice that fingers and thumb move toward each other. And as you inhale, coming back to neutral or an arch, where the lower back lifts off the floor a little bit. Good, so let that keep going in your own breath a little bit. Exhaling and curling. And inhaling and coming to neutral or arch. And pay attention to the movement of the pelvis. What is it like in the land? What do you see there when you scout it out? Dive into sensation. And then the next time you come back to neutral, pause here. Take both knees and draw them in toward the chest. You can hold behind the knees or you can hold on top of the shins. Just rock it a little bit side to side. Cross one ankle over the other and take the knees in little circles. Hands to the kneecaps. And feel that massage of the periphery of the sacral area. Right? So you're kind of making a circle or an oval maybe of pressure change along the back of the pelvis. Feel that. Whichever direction you're going intuitively, that's great. And then pause, change the cross of the ankles and take the knees the other direction. What is it like in the land? Can you cultivate the perspective of Yehoshua and Kalev, a heartfulness, a heartenedness as well, to be heartened by your own life and the contours of this landscape? Hey, it's not so bad, we can do this, we can do this. Versus, I'm just a grasshopper. I'm so small. How can I possibly do this? And then bringing the circles to a pause. And one more time, give it a nice hug in. And then we'll come to rest, a few moments of rest. You might want to have the knees bent and the soles of the feet on the floor, particularly if your low back bothers you in any way. This is a very nice way to take resting. Or you might want to extend the legs long. Let them separate out to either corner of the mat, give them a shake out. Let the palms turn to face up and tuck your shoulder blades under you. Allow the eyes to close. The work is done. Just let the body fully rest. Let the nervous system have some quiet. If you're able and you have more time to spare today and can stay in relaxation for some more minutes, go for it. If you're returning to your day, begin to deepen the breath. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. Take a nice yawn stretch. Make your way slowly over to one side and up to a comfortable seat. Take all the time you need. Let it be expansive. As we close our practice today, you might take one hand to your low belly and the other hand behind on the back body at the same level to your sacrum, to your low back, and just feel the pulsation of breath in and out. Implanting this kavanah for this week, this intention to go into the land and see what's there, scout the terrain. Always changing. And see if we can cultivate an attitude of ki yachol nuchal, that we can do this, we can make a go of it. Releasing the hands. Taking a moment to send the benefit of our practice out to others. Those who need healing, those who need peace, those who need safety. You might send to just one person or to all sentient beings. But making sure not to hold the fruits of our practice for ourselves. We close our practice with a wish for shalom, for peace, shlemut, wholeness, by chanting shalom. 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 Peace, peace, peace. Allow the eyes to open. Shavua Tov. Thank you for practicing today. I am teaching the daily sit on Wednesday. I would love to invite you to join me there. I haven't taught in a while and I'm looking forward to it. That's Wednesday, 12:30 to 1. And we will be back next week as usual with our practice. I'd like to open up for some Q&A. So if you have a question, and especially want to hear from those who haven't shared so much in the past. If you tend to remain in the background and remain quiet, and you actually have a pressing question but you feel shy about it, I would love to hear from you. And particularly, the question is, how did this piece of Torah land for you in your own embodiment today? So you can use the raise hand function, raise hand icon. Gail.
Hi.
There you go.
This isn't an answer to your question. It's a different question. Is that okay?
Sure.
I'd like to know since I am having some lower back pain, what's the best way to go from being on the ground to standing up? I'm having a lot of trouble with that.
Yeah, the best way to do that is little by little. Here, let me show you.
Okay.
So it can be nice even to have a chair nearby potentially, but you don't have to. So it's a great question, Gail. Thank you for asking it. So if you're on the ground, really nice thing is extend one arm, knees bent, roll over onto your side, and pause here. And then when you're ready, press into your hands, right? And then you could come to all fours. This is where, depending, a chair might help, maybe not. Tuck your back toes and come into a bit of a rag doll, right? And so that's where you could have the chair, that could help. And then make your way up to stand. So that's a piece by piece, beautiful way to get off the floor. And whether you have lower back pain or not, it's a really nice way to stay in your body as you get up. So I hope that's helpful. Irina.
I will practice so much.
Sure.
First of all, Lizzie, thank you so much for this practice and all of your practices. I don't usually ask questions because I've been practicing yoga for many years, and because of injuries, really, your class is the only class right now that I am comfortable taking, and I'm just so grateful.
Well, I'm sorry for your injuries, but glad it leads you here.
And I do wanna answer your question. Today's teaching for me was so beautiful because I am dealing with some pretty difficult stuff. My husband has a terminal illness, and it is so easy in the face of that to wake up every morning and feel like like some kind of a worm, really. You can't do anything because really I can't. And yet there is the other side, that he's still alive and he's still able to talk, and we still have, I don't know how long, but whatever it is, every day, there is some enjoyment to be had. And so this teaching was just so beautiful for me to remind me that I can, I can get up every day and be positive as much as as positive as I can be. Certainly not every day. That was an overstatement. But this can happen. So thank you. Thank you very much for that.
Irina, that's so powerful. That's such a powerful reflection. And thank you for your vulnerability and for sharing it, because we all hold you and we all hear you and hold the container for this, and for this sense of you're just checking out the daily terrain of how it is together with you and for your husband. And this sense of ki achol nuchal, yeah, you can do it. Like you said, different every day, the ability, right? Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
We're thinking about you. Yeah. Powerful. Lena and Mira.
Hi.
I don't know if it's Lena or Mira.
It's Lena. Actually, I forgot to change it over. My wife and I tend to do a lot of Zoom things together, but it's just me, Lena, for here.
Hi, Lena.
Hi. I put a question in the chat, which is the transliteration for that double, the Hebrew double verb that you were talking about the land. That really spoke to me. I would like to have the transliteration if possible, so I can make a little poster of it.
Yeah.
But the whole thing, that questioning about, scouting the land, and, the land being our body. I have chronic pain, chronic illness, and mental health concerns. And so very often, especially when I'm in more pain, it's one of those, my body tends to go to that negative, and the negative voice up there saying all the things that I can't do. And it is a constant struggle to talk to come back with positive things to get rid of those negative, that negative voice there. And when you're talking about scouting the land, that's something that I've been trying to work on lately with my therapist, is coming up with good things, not focusing so much on what I can and can't do, but the who I am, and what are the characteristics that make me want to do these things, whether I can actually do them or not. And so, when you're talking about exploring the land, for me, it, yes, there was a physical aspect to it, but there was also that mental aspect and that spiritual aspect to it as well, to hey, take an inventory, see the good things that are there. Yeah, there's some negative stuff there, because we all have it, but the good stuff,
Yeah,
take that inventory.
it's all of these aspects, isn't it? That's beautiful reflection. I shared, I think what you were asking for was that bit about we can, right? Is that what you wanted in transliteration?
It was, you gave the, I think we can conquer the land or whatever,
Yeah.
with the
Yeah, Ki Yachol Nuchal. So I
big
wrote
side
that
of the
out for
Hebrew.
you. And
Awesome.
that's chapter 13, verse 30 in Numbers. And the Torah portion, Shlach Lecha, begins with Numbers 13. So I was really looking at chapters 13 and 14 as sort of this whole story, which is worth reviewing. Beautiful reflection. Thank you, Lena.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Kathy.
Well, thank you for the practice. It was great.
Good.
I when I hear stories like this parsha, I kind of jump to this thing of punishment. The people that were fearful got punished. They weren't allowed to go to the land, into the land. And at IJS we don't emphasize things like that. We're not there. And yet, that's what it says in the literal sense. And I'm just wondering, in this case or in general, how to transcend, um, that kind of interpretation or that kind of thinking.
I don't know about transcend, and Kathy, as I was reading the Parsha, as I reread each time we come around, and I really encourage all of you to actually sit with the pshat, sit with the direct text each week and really read the portion, see what jumps out at you. The same thing was so troublesome for me too, Kathy. Like, I don't like this God. Why? That's so harsh. That's not it's true that we tend to not, we try to sort of push that part of God away, don't we? Because we don't want to see it in God or in ourselves. Like I really was struggling with that. And so I actually do want to speak to my teachers and ask about some commentary around that.
Mm-hmm.
Not just brush past it. Not just brush past it, because we're all of those scouts, aren't we? We're both the people who say, no, we are grasshoppers. We can't do that. That's not possible. I can't get through that conversation or that moment or that piece of my job or that family encounter. I can't. It's not possible. And then we're also Joshua and Caleb, aren't we, sometimes, of like, yeah, we can do this. It's tough, but we got this. The terrain is always both. It's always both.
Right.
So I share your question, though I don't have so much answer at this moment or know what the rabbis have kind of said around that. That was really present for me.
That reminds me a little bit of the last portion, where there was the idea that we can enter the land, or we can find our divine direction, not by suffering, but suffering could be a trigger. A little bit of suffering maybe could be a trigger for us to rise up and do
Nice.
the work, whatever the work is. Rise up and be able to find the courage
Thanks. Yeah. Julie had a nice comment over here. I see on the side. Maybe think of it as logical consequences rather than punishment. By having a fearful attitude, we might miss out on opportunities. Right. So that's great. Sarah, I totally feel like a grasshopper. The older I get, this class allows that to dissipate. Yeah. Yeah. Karen, let's get in one quick more question and then we're over and out.
Yeah, I know. No, a friend of mine has been writing about this. He's a conflict resolution specialist, he's a PhD in that, and he feels that the laws that God had given to the Israelites up until now were so focused on like the sacrifices and like all these commandments and all these like, they weren't about how people interact and how treating each other. Like those laws like weren't there yet.
They had no nuance yet. Yeah.
They weren't there yet. And like, it seems like the rabbis had to get to it later, maybe, or later when they settled in the land and Moses set up the court, the systems. And so something to think about, like, they weren't at, like, we're at a different place. They weren't in a place where they could even, these interrelationships were very challenging to them.
They're still in that place of wandering, right?
Maybe,
in the wilderness.
yeah.
And part of that maybe is the mental wilderness of it all, the emotional wilderness. I like that.
Different, something a little different to think about.
Yeah. Thanks to you for sharing that. Good. Okay, everyone. Wishing you Shavua Tov. Stay well. Come on Wednesday if you can to the sit. And if you're able to